And welcome back to another episode of The Real Teachers of Atlanta. I am Ty.
I'm Nikki.
I'm Joya.
And today we have none other than the Belinda Brewer.
Woo! Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Excited to have you.
Yes.
So today we're going to be talking about women supporting women. Let's get into it.
We got the queens in the house, y'all.
I am Mrs. P. Smith, the Mama Bear at school, your favorite ELA and SPED teacher, but always teaching my students about business.
I'm Miss Rose, commonly known as the snarky teacher, always ready with the good candy. The kids say I'm their favorite math teacher. After school, it's lights, camera, action. During school hours, it's Miss Carter, the life science teacher saving lives.
We got the queens in the house, y'all. Real teachers of Atlanta.
Is it working? Does it work? Is it possible?
I think it's possible.
But does it work all the time? No. I don't know what it is. Sometimes women just don't support each other. Sometimes women can be catty. Sometimes. What I don't like is how some women say they can't be friends with other women.
I
I don't understand that.
What is that?
If you can't have a solid, like if you don't have a solid group of friends, or if you don't at least have one or two women that you can say, you know, these are my friends, we have, you know, a great rapport with each other, then I don't know, I'm kind of leery of a person that says that. But yeah, I don't know what it is. A lot of women just can't seem to get along with each other. Or at least that's the narrative that they push.
And then for the people that say that, you started, you know, seeing some of the things that go on with them. And you can be like, okay, are you the problem or the friends the problem?
Right.
Well, I think first you should ask yourself if you're a problem, because everybody's not going to see a situation the same, and everybody's experience is not the same. So you can't overgeneralize. It's in a situation where somebody feels that way. And if you've had continual relationships with females and it has not been a positive situation, then you do have to go revisit. Is it you? First, that's what we should always ask ourselves. Is it us, or is it someone else? And also respecting boundaries.
Well, that might have not been your tribe. You know, I think it's important to find who's your tribe, who's truly your tribe. I think that's important.
I think you have to, when it comes to people in general, we all have our different backgrounds, how we've grown up, our experiences, and that drives a lot of your relationships, how you are, who you are. And I think that that's the beauty of people as a whole. But I think as women, I feel like that's even more beautiful because we kind of shape our lives around that. And I think you have to be accepting of who somebody else is. And if who they are is just not something you can handle, then be okay with, I can't handle that. So then, and be okay with that. But I think in relationships, I think that sometimes because I feel like I've caught myself doing this before, when things aren't going the way that you want them to you don't want the relationship to evolve. Like, we have to leave room for a relationship themselves to grow, because people change over time. So if you don't allow room in your relationships with other women, then I do think we do this is how you've always been. That's the only way you can ever be when it comes to me. And that's just not what's going to happen. I'm going to grow. I'm going to change. I'm going to learn. I'm going to keep having life experiences. And as friends, you have to be open to saying, okay, this person is changing or growing. And maybe you as that friend are a part of that. But then now you're like, I can't handle this new person that this woman is becoming. And I feel like we have to be conscious of that. And so sometimes I think that impacts how we deal with each other.
Now, do you all think that women support each other in the workplace?
I think women are competitive.
They can support each other. If you're dealing with a person that feels like they're in competition with you in the workplace, then no, you're not going to have a very amicable relationship with that person. But if you are, you know, friends with someone and they obviously support you, then yes, I think that women can work together. But, you know, you're in an environment where people are trying to climb the corporate ladder. Maybe a woman's trying to get the attention of, you know, some man that's in the office. And if you wear a particular kind of dress, then that woman may look at you as being her competition. You know, it's a very dog eat dog type of world sometimes, but you're right. You do have to find your tribe and you have to find people that are supportive of you. And if, you know, this group of women just aren't supportive for whatever reason, then, you know, you'll just have to move on from that and not take it personally because everyone's not going to get along.
I think job culture sometimes come along with some of the baggage that we carry ourselves and we bring it into the workplace. But I think one of the main characteristics, if you do not have empathy as females and working together in a office, school, or whatever, you got to have empathy and you have to sometimes be understanding of what someone else is going through. But when you get to the point where you're so competitive or you quote think you're better than someone or you can do a job better, then you do have a real, what should I say, different outlook because you can become real petty and catty, you know.
I like that point that you said, bringing things to the workplace, like bringing who you are or bringing those experiences to the workplace. And some of the things that you ladies have said, I've also heard, try not to forget, but bringing that to the workplace and surrounding yourself with, you know, your tribe, right? So for me, when I hear you say that, if you bring in who you are in the workplace, if you're a good friend outside of the workplace, then you should be able to be a good friend inside the workplace. And I heard competition up here. I heard that a few times. Like some women be in secret competitions. Like how do you even know that you're in a competition with a person? Because for me, I think I'm a good friend. Of course, there's some things that I can work on, but I cheer for my friends outside the workplace. And I feel like I'm the same person that I wouldn't necessarily say that these are my friends, these are my coworkers, but I have that characteristics for me that I'm not afraid to cheer on the next female. So I do that. That's something I bring to the table for as work. So it's about the silent competition. Like some women be in competition and they don't even know that they're in competition. You know what I'm saying?
That you said that it's a silent competition because I do think that's true. And I feel like you see that so often. And it's like, how are we competing and you're the only one that knows you're in a competition? I have no clue what's going on. And I think some people just accuse women of like I might accuse you of trying to compete with me, but you don't have a clue what I'm talking about. And it's really just my perception of your behavior.
Right, you're projecting.
Correct. And then the other thing I like that you said is that you think you're a good friend. And what I was going to say is everybody's version of what a good friend looks like is not the same. And I think that people in general, I will say this, should really start to address what you're looking for in a friend. And my mom has always told me to have a friend, you must first be a friend. But once you define that for yourself, make sure that you have those characteristics that you want from other people. And that's what you're going to start to collect. Because I know it's just, you can't say, and I'm not saying this about you, but I'm just saying like you're saying, okay, I'm a good friend. Maybe that person doesn't think that you're a good friend, right? So now you have a difference of opinion. In reality, it's just that you're not defining friend the same way. Like what a friend looks like the same way.
So how you can base that, look at the longevity that you have with your friendship. I and my friends, we've been together 20-some years. So if I wasn't a great friend,
there you go.
I don't think we'll still be friends. You know, so there's not a friend that I don't have, like we haven't been friends with for 10 plus years.
There you go. Yeah. So that's a good point. Like,
well, I can interject on that about friends. I have friends that I've been friends with. I just call one that I've been friends with over 60 years. We started first grade together and we're still friends and it's two of us. But the thing about it is it's always communication because we don't have the perfect relationship. Because if we always remember to communicate. If you upset me, I upset you, we're going to talk about it and we're going to be mad. but then we're going to come back because it depends on how important the friendship is.
Well, that's friendship, because friendship is not always we're happy together.
Well, yeah, you're right about that. But then also what I'm stating is the fact that, no, you may not always be happy with each other, but there's a giving point. There's a point where someone has to give. And someone has to make, if it's going to work, if friendship's going to work, somebody's going to always have to be the person who says, okay, well, let me re-examine. That's what I always like to go back. Mm-hmm. I don't like to always, and sometimes I do, but I'm always somewhere trying to be in a reflective moment.
Yeah.
How could I have handled the situation better? Mm-hmm. How can I do better? But in terms of, like you said, even silent competition. A lot of times I don't even think about competition, but sometimes people or women feel that you're a lot further than you really are.
Mm-hmm.
And that's, to me, is one of the hurting things that in relationships with females, because sometimes we are not there, but you may, in your own mind and conscious, project that we are there.
That's true.
Well, I think we need to define this as a workplace, because if you're my friend, there shouldn't be any silent competition. You shouldn't even be thinking like that. So for me, I don't feel like I have anybody around me. And if I do, well, I don't believe I do, that I have any friends in my circle that have secret competition with me. Mm-hmm. Now, when we come to the workplace, I think, the line is drawn. That becomes something different. Or A, are we looking for friends at work? And B, or we consider them coworkers?
Well, we found each other at work. But I think that, again, it goes back to the value of that relationship. If it's something that you realize is developing beyond just the wall. Like we talked about those husbands and work wives. It develops beyond the walls of the school or whatever your work environment is. Then you start to think about, is this something I want to continue and pursue? Because I feel like having a friendship is like dating. It's like, it's a real for real relationship. Yeah. You got to put the work in. You got to put the time in. I think you made a great point about communication is key. Being able to be reflective, being willing to grow and work through the tough stuff and say, okay, what was my fault in it? What was your fault in it? And it isn't always fault, but the relationship is worth it to fight for it.
Keyword accountability.
There you go.
And sometimes I think in friendship it's hard to move on from, like, if something happens, if there's some type of discord, not necessarily fighting or anything like that, but if there's something that happened, it's like that tear in the relationship, you move on, but you don't really move on. It's like the elephant in the room where it's just kind of just there. And I think that's where the communication part comes in. And sometimes it's really hard to adjust the behavior. So if you're in a friendship with someone and they're saying, hey, I don't like this. And then the person says, yeah, okay, well, I'm going to do better. But you still see little remnants of them doing the same thing, but you still want to be friends with them. So it's
kind of hard.
It's kind of hard to kind of move past it, but you do. Because maybe you like hanging out with the person, you like what the person brings to the relationship, and you don't want to end the friendship.
That's getting toxic.
Well, maturity comes to the point when you're mature enough, you can accept the fact that everybody cannot connect in that way. And you you either accept it, because it's a lot to ask somebody. Mm-hmm. Okay, we'll change or be this way. Yeah. What you have to do is, once you see it, and you just believe it. And it doesn't mean that you are hating people or you angry with people. You just have to be mature enough to say, hey, maybe this is not the best thing. But then when you think about it, when you talk about work environment or outside of work environment, but when you talk about work environment, I think we get caught up with the word friend.
Oh yeah, we use it.
We use it so loosely that it's friends,
coworkers.
But if you're not supportive, you're not a friend.
Yeah,
and you're not a good coworker.
Yeah,
but then we get the work. Even if coworker, or not. We supposed to be very supportive.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes there be situations where, you have that person on your job that feels like they show support or they're supportive. And then we know comes work, come cultures, come cliques.
Right.
Okay, in some places. And they're one way with you, and then in the next instance, they switch up. How we feel about people switching up.
You mean in the workplace?
At the workplace?
At the workplace.
They're not your friend. They are a convenient relationship. They found it convenient to be friends with you for whatever they were trying to get from you for whatever reason. And then when they're done, then they switch up.
I think it's more like, okay, if we're just talking about someone I work with, not someone who I'm looking to spend time with outside of work,
right.
You can switch up all you want to, because this relationship has those boundaries. That relationship starts when I get to work and ends when I leave. And I'm not invested like that.
Okay,
right?
But we still can support each other.
Right. You still can support
each other. Why are we not doing that?
Why do I owe you support at work? And I'm just playing devil's advocate, because if I'm at work and I'm looking, for corporate, right? If I'm looking to climb the ladder and you looking to climb the ladder, there is a ground for competition. So it's not that I don't want you to be successful, but I'm looking to be successful too, right? Now, am I going to tear you down? I'm just throwing it. I'm throwing it out.
I gotta let y'all answer the response to this.
I'm just throwing out the opposite, right?
I gotta let y'all respond. I cannot respond.
You are really
get in it, B.
I'm just giving out like.
Let her finish this on out, and then they gonna respond.
I'm just putting out like this is the opposite of it, because I don't owe it. You work with me. I don't owe you anything.
So I'm the competition.
You can be.
You are.
No, you are.
You are.
You can be.
You are. If, what did I say? 10 minutes ago? If we're in the workplace together, you're trying to get something.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get something.
So we cross each other out.
If you have that, it just depends on people.
They're just not in me.
Well, people see things differently. So if you're in the workplace and you're looking at, if you and I are in corporate America or any type of job, let's say I'm trying to get the same position that you're trying to get. Well, if I'm that type of deviant person, then I may try to get close to you to see, okay, well, what project are you working on? Let's see how you're doing it, because I'm trying to get to that ladder. Now, me personally, if my mind is focused on this and you get it, that's what was meant for you.
And I'm supporting you.
That's it doesn't matter if it's 50,000. I'm an actress. So there are people who are constantly going, why you giggle?
No.
You saw she giggled.
I heard the giggle.
But seriously, like if we're all going for the same role and you have 1,000 women that look the same, if that role is for me, it doesn't matter if it's 1 million women going up for the same role.
I thought you was actually taking that statement somewhere else.
I know. That's why I'm missing.
Well, I got to interject.
Okay.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying. Your statement makes me nervous.
Why?
Because number one, my whole thing that I try to live with is integrity. And for me, it has nothing to do with you don't have integrity in terms of competing. But I have been in work environment where that can become very toxic and very draining.
Yes.
Because if you're working with someone and they sitting back saying, yeah, we want the same position, and I'm going to be doing this and I'm going to be doing that. And it's nothing wrong with wanting the same thing. But sometimes, just as Joyce said, that for me, if it's meant for me,
right,
the things that's meant for me, it's going to come.
Correct.
I don't have to do anything but continue to do what I'm doing.
Right.
What I get nervous about is I'm just hoping that it doesn't step to the next level of sabotaging someone.
Right. So, like for me, no,
okay,
I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not going to waste no
good.
energy on stuff like that. But I do see what you're saying, and I feel like everybody's witnessed that at least at some point in their lives. Like I worked in corporate, went and taught, worked in corporate now, and like we've had projects where we got kind of submit our application to be on that team to do this project, right?
Okay.
And I have one coworker that has very similar skills to mine. We look at it from a totally different perspective, but we share the most knowledge with each other. And when she and I are like, okay, one of us is going to do it, that's all it is. One of us is going to do it. We both know we're both going to apply. We're both going to make sure, like, we're going to do our thing. But I'm going to do my work. I ain't got time. I can't do her work and try to sabotage her work while I'm doing my work. I got to focus on mine. So that's how we look at it. But that's still competition. Do I look at us as being friends? We're cool. We're coworkers. But it's not... If she doesn't get it and I get it, I'm be happy. If she gets it, I'm be like, dang, I didn't get it. I'm glad somebody got it. But I was, dang, I didn't get it. You know?
Okay.
Well,
you know, you talking about
not
dang, you
anger.
dang, you get it. You sure you gonna be dang, you get it? Because I done seen a lot of people be not, I didn't get it. I'm ready to quit. I mean, I've seen different things on the job when the next person get it, but while we're getting it or while you know I'm getting it, I support you, blah, blah, blah. And sometimes you'll be applying for something and the next person didn't even tell you they're
applying for it.
But that's so silly.
Right.
Now, that is silly to me. Now, because I'll say this. If we, as women, we would get a lot more if we work together than we do so focused on sabotaging the next person. You're not even doing your own. Because, you know what they say, you point your finger at someone, it's FOMO coming back. Okay. You're not focused on, if I'm not focused on what's in my lane, I'm missing what's in my lane. I'm missing my opportunities. I'm missing my blessing because I'm so worried about what you might get that I'm not getting. I'm not getting what was meant for me.
Well, you said when we work together, there's, I don't know if it's like maternal instincts with women. Like when we get to doing stuff, it's like everybody wants to be in charge.
Oh, yes.
Not enough Indians.
Too many sheep.
And not enough Indians. Everybody wants to be, I don't know if everybody wants to be seen or everybody just want to be in charge. I don't know what it is. It's just like, I'm doing this. Look at me. I'm in charge of this. I don't get that. But
well, I did some research before coming here, and that's part of the problem in the workplace, that women do want to be seen. And they do a lot of things, as you may say, dress, different stuff for that attention. When we go back, I think, for me, going back to think about supporting, I just believe that, and I always use the analogy of an umbrella, and it's raining outside, just really raining. So those blessings are really just raining on you at this moment. That water represents those blessings. So it's just raining and raining. But if you support or women support you, then basically, I think what I say, can you tilt the umbrella just a little? Because if it's raining on you right now and that's your season, but you tilt that umbrella, then that means that water's going to get on some of us. Right. So we're going to get some of those blessings. But if we start seeing it like that, then we don't have to be in competition because we know right now it's your season, and your season. All three of you all may get your blessings right now. It may not be my season. So there's something I feel that I have to wait, and in waiting, support you all and encourage you to become great. And then someone will do the same. And if it's not the three of you all, then God has already stationed somebody.
That's
a great analogy.
I like that.
I heard something different, but I love that analogy. I'm going to have to use that as well. But a long time ago, I heard a preacher say, when your friends are getting blessed, God is in their neighborhood. And if you living right by, if Joy getting blessed, Rose getting blessed, I cheer. I cheer for my friends because I know he's in the neighborhood.
Yes.
And he soon will be knocking on my door.
And I was going to say something similar. It's like some people used to say like crabs in a bucket when they're trying to pull each other down. I feel like what women have to do is kind of see it as, if I get on, now I can grab this person.
Correct.
And then she can grab the next person. And then you can we can just keep going. And we're stronger together. And what's for me is for me, what's for you is for you. And we might not need the same thing.
Yeah, everybody doesn't want the same thing.
You're an actress. I'm not an actress. But I don't even watch TV, but I will watch what you do. And I will show up wherever if you tell me to be somewhere, it says I'm gonna be there for you.
And you all have supported.
And I'm coming. I'm coming every time, and I'm gonna sit in the front because I want you to know that you got somebody for here is to shine, is to show for you. I want to see what you're doing. I want you to shine. I want to see your moment. I want to support you. I love doing that kind of stuff. I want to show up for you. Just like I want folks to show up for me. But what I'm doing is not going to look like what she's doing. Right. What you're doing is not going to look like what I'm doing. Like, you're doing your producer thing. I'm going to sit back and watch you do it. I don't have a clue what's going on. I don't have a clue. I'm just going to follow instructions. That's all I know to do. That's how I'm going to support. Because I don't know, you know? But it's not for me to know or understand. It's just for me to support. And I think sometimes that is your role. Sometimes your role in a group is to support. Sometimes it's your time to shine. Sometimes it's your time to hold somebody's hand and be there. Sometimes it's your job to encourage. But that's what being a friend is, I feel like.
You supporting me though, Rose.
You said, listen, I showed up when you told me to show up, but that's what I can't say. But I do.
And that's all.
Well,
I do. I just can't come every time because I got kids still. Y'all gotta remember that.
I got a question. How do we, and as we're talking about in the workplace, how do we come to the point whereas not supporting or not having empathy with coworkers, and I don't like to keep using that word empathy, but I'm saying there are people in your workplace environment will intentionally push those buttons.
Strong word.
Because they'll push the buttons and intentionally try to hurt you, especially if, you're a kind, soft person on surface. And so they think they're actually hurting you, but actually they're dealing with a tornado underneath. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just trying to figure out, is it insecurities with our other female counterparts that actually punch you, you know, in terms of, and it's not that you want their support, but it's like sometimes supporting you is just basically leaving you alone in the workplace environment, correct?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sometimes that you can have can be some wonder for support. It's just like Joy, you know, being an actress. Well, I may not can attend everything that she does and put out, but I can always be that back support in terms of praying and wishing her well.
Exactly.
So I have a problem with when you're in a workplace and you have other females that doesn't give you that really likes to see you.
Well, you already said it before. People coming in with stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, that insecurity.
That's in them. That's a characteristic of who they are. They brought that in the workplace with them.
Yeah, and then a lot of people don't have integrity. They don't have any morals or any values. So that whole empathy piece is just, and it's like almost borderline bullying is what it sounds like.
Oh wow! That's a big, that's a big word.
That's real.
You sure you want to use that word?
I think
that's the right word. I think so. Yeah.
There are some people that feel like they are being, bullied or experiencing some type of intimidation from whomever in the workplace, and I just think, I guess with that, you have to really set boundaries. Be very direct with people and then just leave it alone at that point. Because there are some people that will attempt to sabotage you. But, not to get too religious, because I know some people may not feel that way. But when you are covered by God or, whomever you believe in, but when you are covered, that type of stuff doesn't even matter.
Right.
It doesn't even matter. They can work until the crack of dawn to try to sabotage you. Now, if it's your time to go out of the workplace, that's God moving you. That's not a person who doesn't have the power to move you. Like I said, you can be very direct with people. You can, set your boundaries. But after that, they can say whatever they want to say. They can attempt to do whatever. When it's time for me to go, it's time for me to go. I'm going to come in and do my job and then go home. But to allow a person to keep you up at night, wondering what they're doing, God is the one that's guiding you. God is the one that has you in that particular place for a reason. And when it's time for you to go, he will use people to push you out. Yep. But it's not them. It's God that's moving you. So I think people really need to get into maybe a spiritual system, maybe not into a religious situation if they're not, Christian or Muslim, but to really have a solid spiritual foundation and to really know who they are. Yeah. Because when you know who you are
and whose you are
and the type of power that you have, it doesn't matter. They can run up a story, a rumor about you every single day.
We know it's happened.
It's not going to bother me. And it shouldn't bother any of you all or any of you all at all.
And I get that, and I hear what you're saying. Yeah. I hear what you're saying in that aspect. Yeah. But you also have to, I've experienced it. And I have lived my life, whereas there's many times I done had a pink slip waiting on me and whatever. And guess what? Right. It was okay. And there was also times I've had situations where people felt that they were sabotaging me. God was moving me to a bigger and better place. That's right. And I have to admit, there come times, because I know that there come times when you have to be empowered. That's once again where it comes with women supporting each other. Right. Because sometimes you're not in that place where you need to be in that place in terms of your spiritual aspect or your spiritual walk. Right. And so because I know sometimes with myself, whereas it may seem that I may take a cowardly role, and say, oh, well, this is happening and I don't want to react. Yeah. And like I'm not going to say that, oh, okay, I would know how to really handle that situation, because if we're going to deal with, just for a moment, the spiritual aspect, right, then we're dealing with physical, and then we're dealing with the carnal. That's right. Carnal and spiritual. Yeah, yeah. So sometimes you want to react carnal. Oh, yeah. And so. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes.
You want to bash him to the white meat.
Ooh, how? That's my term. That's what but we're not going to get on that. But it's just, all I'm saying is thank you, because when you remind us that these are the things that we need to look forward to and to look at, because when you get in these work environments, you lose sight sometimes, because you are trying to maintain a place of employment where you can go to work that you miss out on. And I'm talking about for me. I can't speak for anybody else, but I know there are times when I should pull away and say, let me go over here and just maybe say this affirmation, or maybe I should say this prayer. But for myself, I think I get caught up emotionally. Right. As and humans, then, and then I'm like, I'm hot. Right. Absolutely. I'm hot because you're doing this to me. And I don't feel like you should, and it's unfair. But then when I think about what you're saying,
the attacks come to people who have the light. That's a part of the game. It's like being a teacher. You have PDs and meetings. That is a part of the game. So if you have the light, if you have the talent, if you have the gift, that's what comes with it. That's the part of knowing who you are. That's the know thyself part. So when you know who you are, you know it's going to come.
Have you thought about, excuse me. No, go ahead. But have you thought about being an empowerment teacher sharing? I mean, because I'm saying what you're throwing out, what you're putting out is elevating. Okay. And so I would like to have, just more of this instead of when people do act in their carnal aspect or become human.
You do have more of that. You just don't listen.
Sometimes it's not always, and you may listen. It is a thing of how it is given, the approach is given. And so everybody's not reached the same way.
True.
And I'm saying on the aspect of, in terms of being in myself, once again, of me reacting, there should be a time where I'm so empowered within myself. People can give you advice. People can tell you.
Yeah, but it's hard
it doesn't
to apply
work,
it.
Right. It doesn't work if I don't apply it. So it's all
right. That's the hardest thing to do.
Yeah.
You can know what to do, but it's knowing to do it. You can sit and know what to do. You can sit up and do the affirmations. You can sit up and visualize. You know what to do, but it's the doing it and being consistent. That's the part.
Consistency
It's very hard because people take you out of your element. But you be wanting to run them over. God forbid we don't promote violence. But people push you. You know, it's like, I want to knock you to the other side of the room.
I know I got the juice.
I kept my face open for a reason. Don't you?
No, she said she what?
Joy,
I'm saying this.
Do I ever want to run people over?
Oh my goodness. Well, we won't talk about that because we don't push violence.
No, we don't promote violence.
People are human. People are going to get upset.
I think that's the biggest thing is I think that growth takes time. You have to know yourself. You have to give yourself grace. You have to be okay, first of all, where you are. This is where I am today. And that because you can't say where I'm going if you don't know where you are now. You have to be willing to do the journey. And as you grow and you learn, you will evolve. But you have to start somewhere. And that's the reflective piece that you were talking about earlier is let me look at where I am. Let me look at what I'm identifying as problems, issues, flaws, whatever. And then say, okay, now I'm going to work towards being better. Like you were talking about, someone said, okay, yeah, I'm going to change. Well, how long does it take for someone to change, right? They say it takes 21 days to break a habit. Okay. How many times do you have to start over, right? Yes. I did the 75 hard challenge. I made 12 days. Every time I start over, 12 is the most days I've ever been able to do, right? And it's not because I don't want to complete the challenge, but every time you miss one, you got to start back at the beginning, right? By the time I hit 12 days, here's where life is taking over. Now I got to run this kid here. I got to go here. I got to do this. Something that in my mind is maybe a priority, but is the intention there? Yes. Now I'm just using that as an example because when it comes to self, knowing yourself, learning yourself, you have to be your own priority. And I feel like, but that doesn't make you selfish. And I think that's another thing is for women, when we take on just ourselves, the world says, oh, you're being selfish.
No.
And that's not true at all. Correct. I have to take care of me. Self-care. I can't give you anything unless I have what I need. But I think that's also where your friend groups come in, where if you see my cup is looking a little low and you got a little extra, like you said, tilt the umbrella, fill me back up a little bit. Tell me I'm good. Tell me I'm worthy. Tell me something because I might not be getting it anywhere else. And you have to also be okay with different personalities because we're not all the same. We're not cookie cutter. We have to say, okay, what something that you might need is going to be different than what you need or what I need. And that part is okay. I feel like our differences are okay. What we need is going to be different and we have to be okay with that, but still know who you are and grow from there. And I think that's really important to do. I just feel like we don't always do it. That's the key word, differences. Because I think as females, we don't respect the fact that each one of us are different. So if each one of us different, as in life, you may be really at this point where you are, man, you're on point. Yeah. You may be at another level and you may be at another level. I think that's one of the main problems to me on a job. We're so, did you see that Miss B? She's so blah, blah, blah. Yeah. But haven't you been there? Yeah. In your life? So you forgot back there when somebody else was nursing you. When somebody else was babysitting you.
When somebody else was praying with you, when somebody else like, oh my God, is she coming again to tell us another story? My goodness. So I think if we really stop and just take inventory and say, man, you know what? Last year, I was there. But I'm a little further along, so I can go and tell Miss B, you know what? Last year I was over there. But if you keep pushing, keep striving, but we don't want to do that.
That's the empathy part. Yeah.
There you go.
We don't want to do that. What we want to do is, Miss Carter, because you're in a position of leadership. Miss Carter, I saw that Miss B, she's just in a state where she just really messed up.
Yeah.
And then Miss Carter, because where she is, she may say, you know what? I cannot understand. I was there just about 4 months ago. And then you shut it all down.
Yeah.
But with us, we continue to do it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a part of when leaders, sometimes you can tell when they're called to be a leader. Because when they're called to be leaders, they know how to deflect.
That's right.
And they know how to, what do we do in school when we de-escalate?
De-escalate.
Those are the key words.
Yeah.
De-escalate. No, I am not going to let you continue to do this. Yeah. We're here to do a job.
Yeah.
And if we're at a place of employment and we're here to basically to serve.
Right. Yeah, that's the idea.
And on that note, we're going to close this thing on.
Oh, well, that was good. You got me.
It was.
You was getting me going.
Are there any closing remarks? Make them very sweet and short.
I think I've said enough.
Said
that was really good, Ms. B. I felt that.
Oh, I'm going to say something real quick. I'll be having a art showing April 27th. Okay, so that's it. Thanks.
We'll make sure to put the information.
Where can people find you?
People can find me on Instagram. It's bbrew42.
And what is it that you want them to see? What
I want them to see is a Black woman in progress.
No, in terms of, we know you're in progress. God is still working on you.
Yes,
Let them know, your art. Let them know.
Well, basically what you'll see is portraits, and you'll see documents of some of the documentation I've done of Sandra Bland and photographs of that movement in Waller County, Texas.
All right. So Miss B, as we like to call her, she is a well-known social activist photographer, and you can catch her. We will make sure to include her ads for you, especially if you want to come to the art exhibit, and also buy some nice photos.
Yeah. Because buying always is nice when you spend a little money.
Thank you, ladies. I appreciate you.
No, thank you. We appreciate you for coming. That's wonderful.
All right, Miss Carter.
All right, so you can find us on Instagram. Why do we keep wanting to say Snapchat? Facebook, Threads, Instagram. Yep, everywhere. TikTok.
YouTube, where you can watch full-length episodes.
Yes, please go watch. That's very important.
Bye.
Hey, if you enjoyed our show today and would like to see more content like this, make sure you follow and like our YouTube channel at Real Teachers of Atlanta.
We got the queens in the house, y'all.